What's going on, guys? Super Insane 18 here, and today I am going to be bringing you Fiendsmith Rescue Ace. Now, this is one of the decks that I have been the most excited to bring you guys because I love Rescue Ace. You guys know that if you are longtime fans of the channel, and the Fiendsmith engine actually boosts this deck's consistency through the roof, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you the deck profile plus a combo at the end. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Starting things off, we are maxing out on our copies of Rescue Ace Hydrant because thanks to the Fiendsmith package, for the first time ever, Hydrant is actually a one-card combo. That was the biggest problem with the deck previously, is that just opening Hydrant really wasn't enough to do anything worthwhile, but now you are able to set up a full established board with just the Hydrant, and that is the combo that I'm going to be showing you guys at the end, so stick around for that. We are on 3 copies of Rescue Ace Impulse. Now, this is really good in tandem with the Fiendsmith engine because if you are going second, you can use this on your opponent's turn 1 to establish not only a board, but also put names on your field, meaning that it will be easier to access your Fiendsmith engine. We are on our 1 copy of Airlifter. It is still limited to 1, but it is the 1-card full combo as well, so you have to play it, and it's just a really good utility to have. We are on the 1 copy of Fire Engine. This is going to be the target that we summon off of the Impulse most frequently, because when your opponent summons, you'll be able to summon either your Airlifter or your Hydrant from your deck. Usually going to be the Airlifter because it lets you add one of your spells, so you'll be able to get full follow-up for the next turn as well. We are on double copies of Preventer. This is just pretty standard. Preventer is one of the best Rescue Ace cards. And finally, we have our 1 copy of Turbulence. I really didn't want to cut this down from 2, but I had to get the deck count a little bit lower for consistency's sake, so I did cut it from 2 to 1, but honestly, it's definitely still good because even if it gets banished, you're able to recur it with your Preventer, so unless your opponent's specifically banishing it face down, you will never lose your access to your Turbulence, and it's just really, really strong. Then we are only on 1 copy of Diabellstar the Black Witch. This is because really the only card that this gets you is your Hydrant, and it's not like something like Snake Eye where if you play 3 you can access anything in your deck. You just want to get to your Hydrant, so it's really not all of that important in this deck. Having the 3 wanted is more than enough consistency. We are on the 3 copies of Fiendsmith Engraver as well. Again, 1-card combo by being able to branch you into your Rescue Ace engine, which we will show you later on. Then we have our 1 Lurry as well, which is the honorary Fiendsmith card, and that's going to do it for the regular monsters. Onto some hand traps. We of course have our 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Negation is still some of the most important interruptions in the game, following it up with our 3 copies of Ash Blossom, just the most generic card, and we actually have ways of recycling it in our extra deck, or thanks to something like Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, so we can just kind of cycle our Ash Blossom and keep our opponent at bay. Then we have our 3 copies of Emergency. Moving on to the spells. This is like the deck-specific E-Telly for the deck, and really, really strong as well for dodging interruptions, since it has to tribute a card as well. We have our 1 Alert, our 1 Rescue, and our 1 HQ. This is just the standard Rescue Ace lineup. Of course, we have the 3 copies of Wanted, again to search the Black Witch, in tandem with the 1 original Sinful Spoils as a way to access our Hydrant as well. And of course, we still have our 1 copy of Fiendsmith's Tract. We do have 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. I think that this is ridiculously insane in this format because of how many hand traps players are running. Having this card can just flat out win you the game, and I don't see a lot of people on this card in their main deck right now, which I just think is wild. So I think that it's just correct to be playing Talents in some capacity. And then finally, we have our 1 copy of 1 for 1 and our 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. 1 for 1 is obviously just another way into Hydrant, and Reinforcement of the Army is a way into Airlifter, so even though Airlifter's at 1, we technically play 2 copies. Moving on to the traps, we have our Contain and our Extinguish. These are part of the combo as well, setting them off your Turbulence. And finally, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, rounding out the main deck at 42 cards. Let's show you guys the extra. Kicking off the extra deck, of course, we have our 1 copy of Fiendsmith Lacrima and our 1 copy of Fiendsmith's Desiree. Now, Lacrima is what you are mostly going to be using because you want to get access to your Beatrice, but there are combo lines that do end you with the Desiree as well, which is why we play it, because when you have the traps in tandem with Desiree and like an Appaloosa, your board just kind of feels like it's unbreakable, because they can't do anything like Dark Ruler you, they can't do something like Evenly you. There's just so many different ways of preventing your opponent from breaking your board when you have that full setup that Desiree actually feels really good in this deck. Then, of course, we also have the one copy of Necroquip Princess. This is absolutely mandatory because you need it for the one card Hydrant combo, along with something like the Constellar Pleiades, or Ptolemy, my bad, not Pleiades. Ptolemy M7 actually lets you use the Fiendsmith package in a very efficient way, and I'll show you guys in the combo, which we also, of course, have the Beatrice as well, because in this deck, Beatrice is going to do something like send one of our Rescue Aces, which we can then reborn later. We have our Relinquished Anima as a Link 1. This is mandatory as part of the Hydrant combo. You could technically play Salamangrate Almirage, but this is just a little bit better utility-wise. And then, of course, we have our Fiendsmith Requiem and our Fiendsmith Sequence for our engine, as well as the Moon of the Closed Heaven to branch into them. We do have our Hida the Fire Charmer, our IP Masquerena, and our Salamangrate Sunlight Wolf as Link 2s. Hida is obvious, we are in Fire format. IP is obvious, it's just part of the end board, and Sunlight Wolf is how we are going to recycle resources, as well as out our own Princess Lock. And then, of course, for the IP Masquerena, we have the SP Little Knight. And finishing off the extra deck, of course, we have our one copy of Promethean Princess and our one copy of Appaloosa. A lot of times you're going to be getting rid of the Princess to go into something like the Sunlight Wolf, but if you have the Desiree, you can go ahead and negate the effect and just flat out link it into the Appaloosa, which we will be showing you guys in some of the combos. In this video today, I'm only going to be showing you guys one combo, but I do plan on bringing you a fully dedicated combo tutorial for this deck because I just love this deck so much. So without further ado, let's show you guys the one card Hydrant combo. Now onto the combo. Like I said at the beginning of the video, for the first time ever, Hydrant is a one card combo that actually ends you on a good board, which is something the deck was not able to do previously without the Fiendsmith package. So let's show you guys how it works. Obviously, we will start off by normal summoning out our Hydrant, which will activate its effect to search, adding us our copy of the Preventer. We can go ahead and link off the Hydrant into our copy of Relinquished Anima, giving us the one that we need in Graveyard for the summon of Preventer. So we will special summon out the Preventer by banishing out the Hydrant, and now we can go ahead and link into our copy of Moon of the Closed Heaven. This not only gives us access to our Fiendsmith engine, but will also activate the Grave effect of the Preventer, allowing us to reborn out our Hydrant, meaning that we have it for later on in the turn. We can go ahead and use the Moon, linking it off into our copy of Fiendsmith Requiem, and then activate the Requiem's effect to go ahead and tribute and summon out the Fiendsmith Engraver. We will use the Grave effect of the Requiem, attaching it, or rather equipping it to the Engraver, giving us the materials that we need on the field for the summon of Necroquip Princess. Now we can shuffle back the Requiem for the cost of the Engraver in Graveyard, summoning the Engraver back to our side of the field, and with 2 level 6s, we can go ahead and overlay them into our copy of M7. Now M7 is cool because the detach is cost, but the target is not, meaning that we can go ahead and activate the effect, detaching the Engraver as cost, and then targeting the Engraver we just detached to add it back to our hand. Now that we have the Engraver in hand, we can go ahead and discard it, allowing us to add us our copy of Tract, which we can go ahead and then activate, which will add us our copy of Lurie and discard the Lurie. Because the Lurie is discarded, of course it is going to summon itself, and now we can take the Lurie and the M7, linking both away into our copy of Fiendsmith Sequence. With the Sequence now on field, we are going to activate its effect, shuffling back our Lurie and our Moon of the Closed Heaven, which are the materials necessary for the fusion summon of Lacrima. With the Lacrima on the field now, we can go ahead and use its effect, which will allow us to reborn out our Engraver, and once again with 2 level 6s, it is time to make our copy of Beatrice. Here, what we could do if we wanted is use the Beatrice to send the Turbulence, the Sequence, and the Beatrice will go into Princess, and Princess will reborn the Turbulence. Turbulence will set forward, but then we just have to kind of end there, maybe linking the Princess off for Sunlight Wolf, but we want to go further, so instead we are going to use the Princess, detaching 1 to send our copy of Airlifter, and this will actually allow us to extend a little bit further. We can take the Sequence and the Beatrice, linking both off into our copy of Promethean Princess, and if you want, you can use the Lacrima here to burn, but we're not going to show you that. Just keep in mind that it's there. But we will be able to activate the Princess, allowing us to reborn out our copy of Airlifter. Airlifter on summon is going to activate, allowing us to add our copy of Alert, and because we have Hydrant, when we activate the Alert, we are able to then add from our deck to our hand. This is where we add our copy of Turbulence. We're going to go ahead and link off the Princess and the Airlifter. This is going to go into our copy of Salamangrate Sunlight Wolf, and now we can go ahead and summon out our Turbulence by banishing the Airlifter as well as the Alert, and this is of course going to activate the effect of Sunlight Wolf. So we can add a fire back to our hand. We are going to add back our preventer because this is crucial to make sure that we have the necessary follow-up on our opponent's turn. We can then go ahead and activate the Turbulence effect. This is, of course, going to set 4 from our deck. So we will do Emergency, Rescue, Contain, and Extinguish. These should be face down, but for the video's sake, I am going to leave them face up just so that you guys know they are here. And then finally, we are going to go ahead and use the Sunlight Wolf, the Turbulence, and the Hydrant. And this is going to allow us to link into a 3-material Appaloosa, and here is where we pass our turn. Now, it's very important, because a lot of these cards don't do anything without a Rescue Ace on our field, that in our opponent's draw phase, we shotgun out our Rescue. Rescue is going to go ahead and resummon out our Hydrant, and that makes everything live. Now, you might be thinking you don't want to shotgun it, because what if they clear the Rescue? That's what the Emergency is for, because what we can also do during our opponent's turn is activate the Emergency. This is going to allow us to summon another Preventer from our deck to our side of the field, and then tribute 1 from hand or field. We will tribute out the Preventer. Because the Preventer went to grave, it's going to activate to summon a banished Rescue Ace. We'll go ahead and summon out our Airlifter, which will of course then also activate the Airlifter effect, adding us a copy of Rescue Ace HQ, which will recur all of our resources and give us a draw. So now we have 5 cards in hand, because the 4 that we had aside from the Hydrant. The follow-up for the next turn, we have 3 negates on the Appaloosa, a quick play Book of Moon. We can use this to summon another Rescue Ace from our hand if we have one. We have the we already used the Emergency, but we have the Contain and the Extinguish as well, and the Princess is still live in Graveyard, as well as full follow-up with the Fiendsmith package on top of it. So just a single copy of Hydrant nets you all of this advantage, and it's all thanks to the Fiendsmith engine. And there you guys have it. That is going to do it for my Fiendsmith Rescue Ace deck profile and combo tutorial. Again, I will be releasing a fully dedicated combo tutorial for this deck in the coming days, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you liked it, you know what to do. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share with your friends, and as always, don't forget to check out the channel sponsor Dueling Guard. Using code INSANE18, you can get 5% off your entire order. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.